If you've ever wondered what the heck you actually said at the end of that party,
or wanted a do-over button for those cringe-worthy encounters,
then you've experienced what we call the joy of awkwardness.
I'm Mendy.
And I'm Bree.
And we're here to celebrate the awkward.
Embrace the awkward.
And remind you of one important thing.
You may be awkward,
but you're definitely not alone.
Well, that was awkward. Hi, Mendy.
Hi, Bree.
What do we have on the docket for today?
Bree, we've got an awkward story, of course.
I know we do. Actually, I was just trying to set us up to explain to our audience what we do because I feel like we haven't talked about it in a while and we have some new listeners.
Oh, yeah. Hi, new listeners.
Can we explain to them what it is that we do here at Well, That Was Awkward?
Yeah, Bree, what are we doing here?
Well, what we're trying to do, Mendy, is we're trying to make awkward stories a little more acceptable because we all have awkward moments.
Yes, and that involves humor. Humor is the great transmuter. If you can look back at those times in your life that brought you shame or chagrin or embarrassment and add a little dash of humor,
it makes all the difference in the world.
It makes all the difference in the world.
And also, it's a great way to make friends. I think that's actually how we became friends, Mendy, was we weathered a bunch of really awkward moments together.
Absolutely.
And we continue to do so. So people send us their awkward stories. Mendy, can you tell us what happens when people send us their awkward stories?
Yes, an angel gets her wings.
An angel gets her wings and
a gnome comes out from under my bed in the middle of the night and tickles my nose with a feather and says, Mendy, we got a new story. And my heart gets big. No, really, I get the stories. I read them. I love them. I anonymize them. Oftentimes, I contact you and see if you'd like to do a little phone interview.
Ooh, you get time with Mendy. That's always fun.
Yes, those are so much fun. I've really enjoyed getting to know people better and making new friends.
So send us your stories. We want to have them. And you can check the show notes for all the ways to do that.
And Bree, today, we have another 1980s story.
Oh, awesome.
Woo,
That's totally rad.
I know. Is it just us that loves the 80s so much?
No.
Okay. I was wondering if it was because it was the era of our youth. Like, I saw my grandma a few weeks ago, and she was like, I wish we could go back to the way it was in the 50s. And I'm like, yeah, ew, like unapologetic, blatant institutional racism. No, thank you. And that wasn't her childhood, but it was like her youth, her zenith, right? So I just wondered if maybe everybody saw their younger years as the best era that it could possibly be.
Maybe.
Or maybe we get so many 80s stories because the 80s are inherently awkward. I mean, we've already talked about how all the youngins are walking around in their dumpy, high-waisted 80s britches right now, that fad.
Well, we could also just be getting a lot of stories about the 80s because we are of a certain age, and many of the people who know us are also of a certain age who had inherently awkward moments in the 80s.
Yeah. I guess it's our demographic. We speak the same language.
We do. Hey, Mendy, let's play a game. I'm going to say something from the 80s, then you say if it's awkward or awesome. It's called Awkward or Awesome. That's the name of this game.
Yeah. You go. All right, we'll take turns. You go first.
Okay. Big hair.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Do you agree?
I totally agree.
Yes.
Awesome.
There's a girl who goes to our gym. I could tell she's rolling her hair and fluffing it up every single day, and I adore it. I want to join her. I want to bring it all the way back.
Oh, yeah.
Never enough hair, never enough volume. All right, Bree, neon mesh shirts.
It's pretty awkward, but it could be awesome. It just sort of depends on how you wear it.
Yeah, I like the neon part. Denise loves the neon.
Oh, I like the mesh part.
Oh.
Okay, leg warmers.
Awesome.
Awesome.
100%.
What's not to love?
I still wear them. Ronald Reagan.
Awkward.
Awkward.
The Cosby Show.
Oh. Well, it was awesome, but now it's awkward. Mullets.
Oh, gosh. I think of them as being incredibly awkward.
Yeah.
But my kids think they're awesome.
That's right. There's a new wave of mullets.
Now they call it a wolf cut.
Yeah, you can wear your wolf cut with your dumpy kangaroo pants. You got your pouch right up there. Up there. You keep your snacks right there. And Bree, every week we share awkward stories. And I thought it might be nice to share like an 80s centric awkward story, like a story that was set in the 80s, an awkward moment from the 80s, since there are so many of them?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. But the story I'm thinking of right now is actually, it was born in the 80s, but it got really awkward when my kids were little.
Oh.
Because I was of the generation of latchkey kids. Do you remember the latchkey kid era?
Oh, yeah, latchkey kids. You especially had to watch out for stranger danger.
Well, not if you lived in the country, but I had a little book. It was called How to Be a Latchkey Kid. And,
No.
Oh, yeah. And I was, what do you call it, the first generation of latchkey kid? The
Feral.
I was a first wave latchkey kid,
There you go.
but I was also an only child. So I thought that that was normal. So when my kids got to be, I don't know, 8 and 12, I thought, oh, they're old enough. They're the same age I was when I became a latchkey kid. I can leave them at home now. So I did. I thought it was just normal. I didn't realize that everybody wasn't doing that because everybody didn't have the same childhood experience that I had. And now I realize that Child Protective Services might have come after me if they knew that I was leaving my kids at home for many hours a day by themselves. So that was kind of awkward.
I'd love to hear from them as to what they got up to besides write and perform musicals.
I think that's what they did mostly, and make fairy houses, yes.
Wait, did you give them a book?
No, I didn't give them that book. I gave them lots of books, not that book.
Man, this makes me want to write a How to Be a Latchkey pamphlet with my cartoons in it.
In your free time.
In my free time. That is something I would choose to do instead of the report cards I need to do this weekend.
How about you, Mendy? Do you have an 80s-centric awkward story?
Yes. And this is a story that I didn't tell anyone until I was in my 20s because I did carry a ton of shame around it. So when I was little, I watched General Hospital at way too young an age. And I thought the people on the TV could see me back. So in the 80s, there's a big love affair with Frisco and Felicia, if anyone remembers that. And I remember sucking my thumb during commercial breaks only because Frisco was cute and I didn't want him to know that I was a thumb sucker. But I also learned from General Hospital that if you like someone, you are naked in front of them. No, this never led to anything dangerous or weird in my real life. Do not worry. Happy ending. But in the 80s, they also started playing reruns of the Dukes of Hazzard. And I really liked Bo and Luke Duke. I thought they were pretty cute. So I would sneak down early in the morning, and I'm talking kindergarten age, sneak down early in the morning for when the Dukes of Hazzard reruns were on, take off my pajamas and just sit in front of the TV naked so I could show them, Bo and Luke Duke, that I really liked them and I wanted to be friends. This happened a lot. And then one morning my dad stumbled downstairs like half awake and he was like, go back upstairs. He was like, I don't know what's happening here. And then it stopped then. And I felt bad about it forever. And now I think it's pretty funny.
You do sometimes show your nakedness around people you like. For example, last week, you showed me your boob while we were recording the episode.
I don't show it to TV people anymore. I think that's why I became an actor, though. Like, I thought I was having a whole relationship with the people that were on TV.
Parasocial relationships.
Well, today's 80s story was sent in from Darla, and she was in college in the 80s.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, and living in a co-ed dorm.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it freaks me out, though, because it seems like ripe for pregnancy.
Oh, but it was the 80s. There was the pill.
Yeah, but again, it's the 80s. Like, how is the pill doing? Is it, like, how effective? Are we running, like, a 65%, 70% efficacy rate? Like, where is science back then?
I think it was pretty effective, but there was something even more effective as a form of birth control in the 80s, Mendy.
Ooh, what?
Parachute pants. I mean, they were statistically the most effective form of birth control.
Oh, right. They gave those out at Planned Parenthood, didn't they? So Darla's been focused on her studies, doing the college thing when, during her junior year, Cade, transfers to her school.
Oh, well, his mom definitely watched some soaps, didn't she?
Right. And Bree, he moved to a suite across the hall from her. Did you know that was even allowed?
I did know that.
What? So my dorms in college were co-ed, but by floor.
Right.
Boys were on a totally different floor. But I cannot imagine across the hall.
So my dorms were also co-ed, but on one end of the hall were the boys, and on the other end of the hall were the girls. But I got to tell you something, because my daughter went to Vassar.
Yeah.
And at Vassar, they had co-ed dorms, and they, just like Darla, they lived across the hall from each other, right? They were right there, right across the hall. But they even went one step further, Mendy. They shared the same bathroom.
Ew, boy bathrooms. Oh, yuck. So, you could be showering next to a guy?
Mm-hmm. You could be showering,
brushing your teeth,
pooping.
Boys destroy toilets. Oh my, and I couldn't, if there was a guy who I had a crush on, I would have to be back then would have been in full face, thick MAC makeup from dawn to dusk. I could never let my sons go to a college like that because I'm so afraid of becoming a grandma. And I just see kids that age as just sex animals.
Well,
they can't get enough.
I mean, first of all, kids are statistically having sex less now than they did before.
Oh, thank God.
But also, I know how you feel. And I will say this. I would take any young woman over the age of 18 who wanted to get an IUD straight to Planned Parenthood. I would happily do that. So that's what I would do as a mom. If I had two boys, I'd be like, hey girl, I'll take you to Planned Parenthood to get an IUD.
Yeah, I'll take you to lunch beforehand too and buy you a necklace if you come with me to Planned Parenthood.
All right, so back to the 80s. Tell me about Cade.
Cade is hot.
Ooh.
He's tall. He has a mustache.
Oh, that doesn't really do anything for me, but they're really popular again now.
Yes, the standalone mustache without a matching beard or goatee is totally back. And she said that he was like a younger but more wafy Tom Selleck. Did you have an 80s crush, Bree, besides Ricky Schroder from Silver Spoons?
I did. Also from Silver Spoons, I had a crush on Jason Bateman.
What is it with you and Silver Spoons?
He was a cutie. He got kicked off of Silver Spoons because he was upstaging Ricky Schroder. I would say that I don't really have a crush on Jason Bateman anymore, but I have a lot of love for him.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he is.
Mine was MacGyver. Did you ever watch MacGyver?
I did not.
I loved MacGyver so much, after the Duke Boys, once I'd matured a little bit and wanted somebody with more skills, survival skills and stuff. But he doesn't do it for me anymore. And I think it's because the MacGruber skit on SNL ruined it for me. So back to Darla.
Mm-hmm.
One night early on in the year, this hot dude, Cade, and his dude friends have a party just across the hall. And during the course of this merry gathering, Bree, Cade and Darla get to chatting. And he asks her if he can come over to her dorm room at the end of the night. Bree, what do you say?
Yes.
I bet you do.
What does she say?
She says no. She's not going to give him the cow for free. She finds a note under her door the following Monday, though, from Cade, asking her to come to his room because he has a question for her. Do you go, Bree?
Yes, I want to say something because you just said she's not going to give away the cow for free.
I'm just teasing
What
you.
if I want the cow? What if I want the cow for free and he's the cow? I don't understand why I always have to be the cow.
Very good point. Let's trade cows.
Okay, how about you, Mendy? Would you go?
Yes, but I take Mace. You know me. She goes to his room and he asks her on a date. She says yes. This is Monday, and on Wednesday, they have their very first date, and from there on, it is on like Donkey Kong.
That's a great game.
They are both enrolled in super intense classes, though. He's majoring in accounting. She is studying Chinese and has to spend a lot of time in the language lab to stay on top of her studies.
Those are the most 80s majors I could imagine. I bet they wore power suits to class.
Yeah, right. With Reagan, man, it was a good time to get to the top of that trickle. Study business. But when they aren't studying, they're together. I mean, he's just across the hall. They had parties every weekend and never even needed to go off campus to look for a good time. They were in a bubble of joy, ease, perfection, fun. They were madly in love. They even talked about getting engaged at the end of the next year.
So they were checking all the boxes. I bet she had a stash of bride magazines under her bed.
Oh, in the 80s with those giant veils that were like devouring their head. And this relationship is even more a big deal for Darla, Bree, because Cade is her first really real boyfriend. Do you remember your first really real boyfriend?
Yep. How about you, Mendy?
Sure do. Let's flash back to Darla's early years. Bree, Darla had big-ass buck teeth until middle school when her family finally entered her into the magical world of orthodontia. She had headgear, Bree.
Ah, lucky.
What? I don't think most people like having headgear, Bree.
This is what I like. I like knowing that there's an investment in improvement. That's what headgear shows to me. An investment in improvement.
Evidence of an attempt at progress. Bree, you have the most unique kinks. And Darla also had a bully. Pee Wee Harmon used to be brutal to her on the school bus every day.
The one with the playhouse?
That Pee Wee would be nice.
Oh, that's Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah.
This is Pee Wee Harmon.
Yeah, this is Pee Wee Harmon.
Harmon. He was harming her.
How can somebody named Pee Wee Harmon give another person hell?
Right?
Jeez.
Anyway.
And as she got older, her extracurriculars weren't like the 80s cool girl interests. Like she wasn't a cheerleader. She wasn't in the heavy petting club. She wasn't on the homecoming committee. She didn't play any sports. In high school, she was into student government, the yearbook committee, and marching band.
What did she play?
The bass drum.
Oh, that's so freaking cool.
Right?
Mendy, if I hadn't been a latchkey kid, she would have been my favorite babysitter.
If you'd had babysitters. Yeah, man, it's so cool to play the bass drum, but I guess back then it wasn't so much.
Yeah.
She'd always been musically inclined, though, because she took piano when she was young. And she said she'd tried the flute, something more dainty and I guess stereotypically girlish, but she found that she wasn't good at blowing things.
So no cheerleading.
Bree.
Lung power? It takes a lot of lung power to yell like that.
I was like, what? But her grandma played bridge with the high school band director, and he heard her playing piano and was like, she's got rhythm. Boom. She's a girl on the drum line. And like most of us misfits, she was always in the school musical, but so was her little frickin' brother. She played Lori in Oklahoma, and her little brother played her boyfriend.
Curly.
Yeah, but either way.
That was his name.
Oh, thank you. She was in HMS Pinafore, but her little brother was right there up under her again.
Oh, that sucks. Half the reason to do a high school musical is to have a showman's.
Yeah. Also, to have your chance to shine, right? To be in the spotlight. But all through school, she never found her shine. Did you find your shine in high school, Bree?
Mendy, I'm a Leo. I was born with a shine. How about you?
Oh, yeah. In high school, I was a disco ball. I had very easy high school years. It was afterwards, once my bubble was burst by college and real life. That's when my disco ball got a little smudgy. But I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
I'm back. Well, in this relationship, Darla finally feels like she's the star.
Oh, I love that for her.
Yeah. But that summer, the summer before their senior year, Darla and Cade had to part ways, as you do when you're in that phase of your life.
Oh my God, I'm so glad that relationships aren't seasonal anymore.
It caused so many problems.
I do.
She went home to Cambridge.
England?
No, Massachusetts.
Where we have a lot of fans.
Yeah, we do. And he went home to the Hamptons. So for our listeners, how far apart are those places, Bree?
If they take I-90, it is 181.7 miles.
Right. So far enough to be pretty inconvenient. It's not a day trip.
Not with the New York traffic, no.
Right. Well, they don't see each other all summer. There's no cell phones, no texting. They have to talk to each other on phones attached to actual walls.
And paid long distance. And they can only do it when other people aren't on the line.
That's right. So she turns to that trusty balm that sustains us through heartbreak and despair. The radio.
Oh my gosh, the radio in the
radio.
80s.
She finds solace in music, and there has been this one super catchy new song in the top 40 that has been especially soothing for her as she pines for her beloved.
What's love got to do with it?
No.
Endless love?
No.
Oh, she's talking on the phone to him. Is it hello?
Bree, you have to stop guessing because it's part of the story and I'm trying to craft it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Like, you're going to mess it up if
I'm
you
so sorry.
stop it.
Okay.
Anyway, Bree, do you have a song that has sustained you through desperate times?
Indigo Girls, Closer to Fine.
Aw.
How about you, Mendy?
Anything Madonna reminds me of who I truly am. How spoiled are we, though, now that we have every single song we've ever heard or could possibly want to hear at our fingertips?
Truly, because catching a song on the radio back in the 80s was like a whole phenomenon, omen, life event. Nobody went to therapy then, they just turned on the radio.
That's right. So finally, though, at the end of the summer, just before their senior year begins, Cade is able to come up and see her. And they hop in her car, he's driving, and head out to a local restaurant after so many weeks apart. And Bree, her song, that song comes on the radio. It's meant to be the song that has sustained her all summer, helping her suffer the absence of her one true love, just happens to be playing on their way to dinner. Oh my gosh, she screams, and she leans over to crank up the volume. Every time I hear this song, I think about you. She sings along to the funky chorus. I love you desperately, baby.
I don't know that song.
There's a reason why, Bree. So Cade, he turns on the blinkers, slows the car down, and pulls over to the side of the road. Cade says, "You know, this song has made me think about you too all summer, Darla." But the lyrics aren't what you just sang. The lyrics are, "Our love's in jeopardy, baby."
Oh.
He was taking her out to break up with her.
Well, that was awkward.
Oh, that's so harsh, Mendy. What does she do?
She freaks out. She never saw that coming.
My bad.
And they never made it to dinner.
Oh.
It seems he had found his shine because he proceeded to date several different girls during their last year at college.
Do they still live on the same dorm?
Yes, they still shared a dorm, and her friends were buttholes and kept going to the guy's awesome parties. She said it was even extra super awkward because her roommate's boyfriend was good friends with Cade, and she had to keep hearing stories about Cade's latest fling of the week.
Okay, that is not right. Here is a PSA to women around the world. You gotta have your girls back. Mendy is really good at that.
That's right, girls, I got you. So a couple of years later, she's doing her career thing now, post-college, rocking her Chinese language business degree in a position at an international firm in a different city.
Wearing that power suit.
That's right. And a good friend who isn't a butthole, sends her on a blind date. She walks into the restaurant and she sees a guy. This is no Cade. This is no Wafy Tom Selleck. He's even better, Bree. This is her George Clooney.
George Clooney is really hot.
Oh, yeah.
And he was hot in the 80s, too. People forget that he was an 80s superstar well before whatever he did later.
And he's the one.
So all's well that ends well?
For Darla, Cade gave up on whatever he was studying at college and became a town constable, whatever that is. But she is pleasantly surprised to see that he did simmer down and has been married to the same person for a while now, according to Facebook.
That's the thing about breakups, Mendy. They're all inherently awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard of a breakup that didn't have some kind of awkwardness to it. But when people end up with the right person, it was all kind of worth it because it helped people figure out what they wanted and needed, right?
Yeah, I never understand why people get mad at someone for breaking up with them, because you're either going to break up or be stuck with each other forever. You can do it poorly, but you can't get mad at someone for saying, hey, I don't want to get married one day.
But you can also support your girlies who are going through the awkwardness of a breakup, because awkward moments are just kind of sucky. So
yes.
we get that too.
Do you want to hear her advice?
I do want to hear her advice.
Well, she wishes that she hadn't cried in front of him. She said, don't give them your power. She also said, it was my car. I should have kicked him out of it and driven off.
Can you imagine?
Little microaggression is fine. That's fine. You could be okay with the breakup, but still, sting them a little.
I love you desperately. You're out of here.
Now you're in Jeopardy on the side of the road.
So, Mendy, how would you rate this one?
Well, I would say it's pretty high. I would say a 7, because she serenaded him with the love song that had been sustaining her all summer and had the lyrics botched the whole time. So besides the singing to him and him not wanting that relationship anymore, she also botched the lyrics. And, I have a real sore spot around looking non-intelligent or unintelligent? Unintelligent. I have a real sore spot around people thinking that I'm unintelligent. What about you, Bree?
I think I would give it an 8.
Ooh, tell me why. Yours is higher than mine.
I know, it is because breakups are awkward, and even just thinking about breakups, it's palpable, the awkwardness of that, right?
Yeah.
But even worse is just knowing that someone knew that you were wrong about something. I hate to be wrong.
Oh, right. Yeah, there's that other level of just being wrong about the whole relationship.
Oh, no, just being wrong about the song.
Oh, you're still on the song lyrics, too. Bree, I would never think that you were disintelligent.
Mendy, I would never think that you were stupid.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, Bree, what would you have done in Darla's situation? Side of the road.
I would have been like, okay, this is done. We're going back to the house and you're going home. Bye.
Yep, I would have been the same way, which is exactly what Darla would have done. I'd like to think I'd have something clever up my sleeve, but she was completely blindsided.
Yeah.
After she sang to him.
I know, that really stinks. And it is hard. I really feel for her crying in front of him. Although, I don't know that it's the worst thing to cry in front of somebody.
Yeah.
I see what she's saying about not wanting to give away her power, but also sometimes it's good for somebody to know that they hurt you so that they are better in their next relationship.
Yeah.
Because do you think he meant to hurt her?
No. And well, this came up in a previous episode. Like, I think people have this huge thing about having to break up with somebody face to face. I think the phone is just fine. Like, he could have given her some hints over the phone.
Yeah, he could have. He could have.
It was going to happen in a restaurant.
Right. That's the worst.
So her mishearing that song lyric actually saved them.
Yeah.
Saved her potentially a very public embarrassment.
Or what he could have done is, like, when he got there, I can think of all the things that he could have done differently.
Yeah.
Kate, here are some of the things you could have done differently. When you got there, instead of getting in the car with this poor girl who really thought that you were going out on a nice date.
Yeah.
If you had to do it in person, you could have said, let's go for a walk. Then you're not stuck in a car, right? You can walk. It helps your nervous system to process information. You can move through it. They could have gone for a walk by the river.
Yeah.
And they could have gotten those negative ions from the water.
And she could have pushed him into the river.
And she could have pushed him into the river. That's right.
And I'm really bummed they missed dinner because I'm hungry.
Oh, I am too. But hey, before we go get some food, how could Dana have gotten you out of this one?
Oh, okay. All right. So Dana, as an excuse, could not have gotten me out of this one, but Dana could have gotten herself out of this one. Here's what Dana would have done. So he pulls over to the side of the road. He says, yes, I've heard that song too. I've thought about you, but here are the actual lyrics. Well, Dana is all about keeping her power, saving face, right? So Dana would have been like, actually, no, you're wrong. This is the original cut, and you didn't let me finish. It's I love you desperately, baby. Psych, I don't. I'm gonna go to the restaurant and break up with you. Those are the actual lyrics. So I'm the one who broke up with you. You did not break up with me. So when you go back to the dorm, that's your story, butthole.
I love Dana.
I love Dana, too.
That's a way to really keep your power.
Yes.
And make sure, the story back at school benefits her.
Yeah, yeah.
Ooh, Bree, you know what would be fun?
What?
It would be so much fun if listeners if you guys sent us the song lyrics that you always mess up. I want to hear them.
I do too.
You could even sing them to us. You could sing them to us on our speak pipe.
Oh my gosh, we would love that so much. We can't play those on the podcast,
Right.
but you would bring us so much joy, and we could post your lyrics in our Facebook group.
Yes, and we can't play them because of copyright.
Or you can just change the lyrics to a song and entertain us.
Yes, please. Ooh, speaking of lyrics, we've got a hot, fresh new ditty for our listeners' boom boxes, don't we, Bree?
We sure do.
Darla loved Kate desperately,
Sang him her favorite melody.
but their romance was in jeopardy.
Well,
that was awkward.
So if you serenade your beau,
And that prince becomes a toad.
it's time to take that show on the road.
Like a Virgin made much more sense to me when I realized she wasn't saying touched for the 31st time.
Wait, what? Well, that was awkward. Really? She wasn't saying 31st time?
Yeah, I learned later what a virgin was.
This has been an Awkward Sage production.